Jai Hind everyone. Today we are going to start the most popular problem or the challenge in the computer networks, that is channel allocation problem. So as we can see that this is the biggest challenge, that when multiple competitors are there who wants to access the resources, so who will be given the priority, how the channel will be divided into the multiple competitors in the multicast or the broadcast environment. So that is a big challenge in this case, right? So we are going to discuss this particular problem today, how to allocate a single broadcast channel among the competing users, right? Broadcast channels are also sometimes called as multi-access channels or sometimes also known as random access channels. There are multiple ways. Here we can see static channel allocation and dynamic channel allocations. The protocols used to determine who goes next on a multicast channel that belongs to the sublayer of a data link layer, which is known as MAC sublayer, or also we can say medium access control sublayer, right? So we use FDM and TDM, FDM as frequency division multiplexing and TDM, that is time division multiplexing, that is suitable for the fixed number of users with constant traffic. When we talk about static channel allocation, that is suitable for the fixed number of users, right? But on the other hand, we do have a disadvantage as well. What is the disadvantage in this case? When the number of users is large and continuously varying, in that case, FDM presents some of the problems, right? That means if the traffic is bursty, if a traffic is too high on the network, then our frequency division multiplexing creates a problem. So we have dynamic channel allocation, okay? But before starting the dynamic channel allocation, let me discuss some of the key assumptions over here. Here we have 5 key assumptions. Number 1, station model. Say the model consists of n independent stations, right, where each with a program or a user that generates frames for the transmission. Then the probability of a frame being generated in an interval of length delta t is lambda into delta t. What is this lambda over here? Lambda is a constant. That means the arrival rate of new frames, right? Once the frame has been generated, the station is blocked and does nothing until the frame has been successfully transmitted, right? Second, we have single channel assumption, where we see a single channel is available for all communications. All stations can transmit on it and all can receive from it, right? As far as the hardware is concerned, all stations are equivalent, although some protocol softwares may assign priorities to them, right? Third, we have collision assumption. What is a collision? If multiple frames are transmitted simultaneously and they overlap in time, that means what will be the result in this case? The result will be the garbled frames, right? Resulting signal is garbled. Yes, there will be a collision. If the frames will collide simultaneously, both are transmitting at the same time, this event is known as collision, right? All the stations can detect collisions. A collided frame must be transmitted again later on. Once the collision has detected on the station, in that case, that particular station will retransmit the frame. There are no errors other than those generated by the collisions. If there are no error, then we can transmit, right? But if other problem is there, in that case, that problem has to be rectified by a particular station, then only that frame will be retransmitted, right? Next we have time. Time, that means either the continuous time or the slotted time, right? So first we will discuss what is continuous time. Frame transmission can begin at any instant. There is no master clock dividing the time into the discrete intervals, right? That means, say one station is there, if it is having a frame, it is allowed to transmit. Whenever it is having a frame, it is allowed to transmit, right? There is no any kind of master clock who is dividing the time into some discrete intervals. But if I talk about slotted time, as the name is indicating, slots will be there. That means the time is divided into some discrete intervals. Frame transmissions always begin at the start of a particular slot, right? A slot may contain 0, 1 or more frames corresponding to an idle slot, a successful transmission or a collision respectively, right? So that is the difference in the continuous time and the slotted time. Then the last one, we have carrier sense and no carrier sense. That means if some stations are there, participating stations are there, they can sense the channel, whether the channel is available or the busy, right? Or you can say if it is idle. Station can tell if the channel is in use before trying to use it. If the channel is sensed as busy, no station will attempt to use it until it goes idle, right? On the other hand, if I talk about no carrier sense, in that case, stations cannot sense the channel before trying to use it, right? What they are doing, they just go ahead and transmit. Only later can they determine whether or not the transmission was successful, right? Carrier sense, first station will sense the channel. No carrier sense, no any kind of senses is there, they are not able to sense the channel after the collisions or the successful completion. Then only they will be able to understand, they will be able to get the information. So for this we have multiple protocols, the multiple access protocols, that is Aloha, carrier sense multiple access protocol and collision free protocols. In this particular lecture, we are going to discuss Aloha, and then into the upcoming lectures, we will be discussing about the carrier sense multiple access protocols and the collision free protocols. So let me start with pure Aloha, right? Pure Aloha. First of all, let me tell you that Aloha itself is categorized as pure Aloha and slotted Aloha, right? In the case of pure Aloha, when multiple, that is the first multiple access protocol, which is a method for sharing transmission channel by enabling the transmitter to access the channel at some random times, right? So what exactly is happening in this protocol? The basic idea of this Aloha system, it is quite simple. What is that? That means let the users transmit whenever they have data to send, right? User is having a data to send, okay, that is allowed to send, right? There will be collisions, but obviously there will be collisions. When multiple competitors are there and they are trying to transmit the data at the same time, surely there will be collisions, of course, and the colliding frames will be garbled or damaged, right? That is a very simple concept. Stations are having a frame to transmit, they can transmit. They do not need to sense the channel. They do not need to wait for their turn and for their slot, and nothing like that is there. A simple phenomena. Let user transmit whenever they have data to be sent. That's it, right? However, due to the feedback property of the broadcasting, which property? A feedback property. A sender can always find out whether its frame was destroyed by listening to the channel, and the same way other users too. That is the graphical representation through which we can easily understand the concept of pure aloha. Here we can see frames are transmitted at completely arbitrary times. There are multiple users, user A, B, C, D and E, right? User A is having some frame to transmit. Okay, that is allowed to transmit, right? It has not yet been completed. Meanwhile, B has started its transmission. Yes, there will be a collision. We can easily see over here, right? Fine. C is having a frame to transmit. Okay, transmit at the same time. There will be a collision. D is having some frame to transmit. Yes, it is allowed to transmit, right? So, the simple phenomena in the case of pure aloha, whenever a user is having a frame to transmit, that is allowed to transmit. Resulting multiple collisions are there. In that case, how we will find out how efficient our channel is? So, we can say in the case of pure aloha, nodes transmit on a common channel, then transmit frames of fixed length. When two transmissions overlap, they garble each other, right? Like we have seen in the slide. Fine. Yes, we have a feedback property so that other station, the station who has sent the frame will be able to know that there will be a collision or a successful transmission is there. If the frame gets destroyed, the sender waits a random amount of time and sends it again. Fine. Continues till successful transmission. Now we will see how we can find out the efficiency of aloha. So, here we see the nodes, right? We are having some new frame and old frames, right? The frames are being transmitted over a channel. Now, that will be sensed whether there were a collision or no. If no collision is there, that means successful transmission. But if collisions are there, then it will wait for a random amount of time and this old frame will be retransmitted over a channel, right? So, we can find out the efficiency, the throughput with the G into probability P0, right? Where G, what is the value of G? G is the mean number of transmission attempts, whether new or old combined, right? So, S is equal to G into P0, that is the formula with the help of which we will be calculating. So, we can see P0, that is the probability that a frame does not suffer a collision. We can see with the diagram when the frames will collide. Say this is a frame, right? This is which has been transmitted by a user A, and another frame is being transmitted by another user, and that will collide. Collide with the start of the shaded frame. Why it is so? Because it has not yet been completed. Successful transmission was not done, right? Meanwhile, it has started its transmission, right? If the total time it takes T0, then if it starts with the T0 and the total time it takes to transmit, that is T, so what this time would be? It would be T0 plus T, right? Up to here, we can see T0 plus 2T, T0 plus 3T and so on. Here as well we can see that will collide with the end of the shaded frame, right? So, this is the vulnerable period for the shaded frame. Now to find out the probability that k frames are generated during a given frame time, that is being given by the Poisson distribution pk, that is equal to g raised to the power k multiplied by e raised to the power minus g divided by factorial k, right. So if we need to find out the probability of 0 frames in a slot is, then we can identify, simply we can identify it as e raised to the power minus g, or we can say P0 is equal to e raised to the power minus g, right. G raised to the power 0, that is 1, e raised to the power minus g divided by factorial 0 is 1, so divided by 1, that is equal to P0 is equal to e raised to the power minus g. In an interval 2 times slot long, the mean number of frames generated is 2g, right. The probability of no other traffic being initiated during the entire vulnerable period is, thus we can calculate by P0 is equal to e raised to the power minus 2g. So we can put the value of S is equal to GP0. We find if we put this value, so we find the value of P0 is equal to e raised to the power minus 2g. So g multiplied by e raised to the power minus 2g, right. I'll discuss in the next slide over here. In the case of pure aloha, S is equal to g into e raised to the power minus 2g, right. So we can see the throughput per frame time, right, and here the value of g, attempts per the packet time. At 0.5, this value is maximum, right. At 0.5, at g is equal to 0.5, this value is maximum, right. If we put the value of g as 0.5 in this formula, we get the value of pure aloha is equal to, in the like we get the value of channel utilization of pure aloha is equal to 0.184 and so on, right. Fine. So according to the graph, we have seen at the value of 0.5, that is a maximum utilization. Then so the value of S we can calculate, S is equal to g into e raised to the power minus 2g, that is S is equal to half of e, which is about 0.18. That means the best we can hope for a channel utilization is just 18% in the case of pure aloha, right. That is just in the case of just 18% in the case of pure aloha. Fine. Now we'll find out what is the case of slotted aloha, how it is different, what is pure aloha and how it is different from the slotted aloha. Okay, so we have seen that in the case of pure aloha, nodes can starting its transmission at any particular time, then at any arbitrary time. The station is having a frame to transmit, okay, transmit. It is having a frame, okay, that simply it is transmitting the frame at any time, right. But what in the case of slotted aloha? The channel is divided. This time is divided into some slots, into the slots, right. If a station is having a slot, then only it can transmit. Nodes must start their transmission at the beginning of a time slot only. No any node is allowed to transmit a frame if it is not having a slot, right. Now what does it mean? In Roberts' method, which has come to be known as slotted aloha, in contrast to Abramson pure aloha, as we have discussed in the last few slides, a computer is not permitted to send whenever a station is having something to send. Instead, it is required to wait for a beginning of the next slot. Thus, the continuous pure aloha is turned into discrete one. Right? So, that is quite obvious. The vulnerable period is now halved. Right? In the case of pure aloha, stations were transmitting the frames at any arbitrary times. In slotted aloha, if it is having a slot, then only it is transmitting. Then that is quite natural, that is quite obvious that the vulnerable period will be halved in this case, right? So, the probability of no other traffic during the same slot frame is e raised to the power minus g, which leads to s is equal to g multiplied by e raised to the power minus g. So, according to the graph, this one, we can see the maximum utilization is at 1. If we check at the 1, this is the maximum value, the best performance, right? So, according to the graph, as we have seen, the maximum throughput occurs at g is equal to 1, right? So, using s is equal to g into e raised to the power minus g, we get s is equal to 1 upon e. And if we calculate this value, then we find approximately 0.368 and so on. That means the best we can hope for a channel utilization is around 37% in the case of slotted aloha, which is twice that of pure aloha. What was there in the case of pure aloha? It was nearly 18%, right? In the slotted aloha, it is 37%, right? So, that was about the pure aloha and the slotted aloha. Now, we will be discussing one of the example. Here we see a group of an station that shares a 56 kbps pure aloha channel. Each station outputs a 1000 bit frame on an average of once every 100 seconds. Even if the previous one has not yet been sent, that means station can buffer outgoing frames. What is the maximum value of n? That's what we need to find out, right? So, what we have to do? First of all, we'll see with the pure aloha, what is the usable bandwidth? What is the usable bandwidth? That is given to us. There is a group of n station which is sharing 56 kbps pure aloha. So, in the case of pure aloha, we will multiply it with 0.184 as we have seen in the previous slide, right? Multiplied by 56 kbps that has been given to us in the question, right? So, if we calculate this value, we get 10.03 kbps, right? Now, it is saying each station outputs a 1000 bit frame on an average of once every 100 seconds. Fine. Even if the previous one has not yet been sent. So, that means each station requires 10 bits per second, right? 1000 bit frame on an average of once every 100 seconds. So we can easily calculate that each station requires what? 10 bits per second. Fine. So now we can find out that was in kilobytes, kbs, kbps, and that is in the Mbps. So we can find out this, we can convert this value into BPS. Then we get 10,300 divided by 10 bits per second. That means the answer would be 1030 stations. 1030 stations, right? So that was the question. What is the maximum value of n, which we can find out? A group of n station share this. So, and that means the value of n would be 1030 stations. We'll take one more question. Suppose there is a delay of pure Aloha versus slotted Aloha at low load. We need to find out which one is less. These are few of the very important questions, right? So, in the case of pure Aloha, what we have seen, stations can transmit at any arbitrary time, right? But in slotted Aloha, time is divided into slots. That means if a channel is having a particular slot, then only it can transmit. Otherwise, it has to wait. Right? Although, maybe that is quite possible that channel is idle, but still it has to wait. That means, if we talk about delay in the case of pure Aloha and slotted Aloha, the performance of pure Aloha would be much better. Why it is so? Why it is so? With pure Aloha, transmission can start instantly at low load, no collisions are expected, right? That is given to us in the question. At low load, we have to find out, right? So, transmission can start instantly in the case of pure Aloha. So, in the case of low load, no collisions are expected. So, the transmission is likely to be successful. But with slotted Aloha, it has to wait for the next slot, right? Maybe the channel is idle, but it has to wait. Fine. So, that introduces half a slot time of delay, right? So, that is the reason when we consider the performance at low load, the performance of pure Aloha would be much better, because in that case it doesn't need to wait, but in the case of slotted Aloha, it has to wait for the next slot, right? So, I rest this lecture here only. Next, channel allocation protocol we will be discussing in the next working video, in the next video, okay? Here, these are a few of the references from where I have included the content in my slides. Thank you.